Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. Some of you know me on Twitter, The Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of No More Future. So, let's go ahead and cut right to the chase, shall we? And jump right back into Mary's side story. Y'all know what to expect by now, so let's go ahead and do it. Alright, Alarm Shan, you are up, and let's go. Okay. She's being playful, almost. As though this was just another conversation to her, like so many others before it. As though she didn't just tell me that I'm going to die. As though I didn't just tell her that I deliberately sought that out. I don't get it. Just wanted to save us both some time is all. I tried to speak like I did earlier, careless and absent-minded. I tried to find the same comfort in my pillow that I tried to find before, after realizing I finally got what I wanted. But I can't. Every time I do, I end up imagining that smug grin of hers in my head, taunting me to be even more honest with her, to rattle out all my secrets so she can use them against me. That's what she's doing, isn't it? That's what she's trying to get out of me, right? The uncertainty gnaws away at my sanity like a ravenous beast. I pull my head back up and try to face her once again. She's still giving me the same unfazed look as ever. It seems like a robot who can only ever do one of two expressions. But I know which one she's wearing deep inside. Look, you think I don't see what you're trying to do here? Because I can tell. You're here to tell me some shit you think I've never heard before. And get me to sign off on some drastic procedure to save my life and all that, aren't you? Just another psychologist on a moral crusade like so many others before you. She remained silent, simply observing me as I raised my voice and lose my cool. In my tirade, I take that as a sign of assent. Yeah, thought so. That's the only reason one of you hypocrites would want to spend more than 2 minutes looking at me, talking to me, when they would definitely do literally anything else. Whatever you've got that could save me, whatever you think I need, go offer it to someone else who wants it. You're wasting your time here. I only feel embarrassed about what I said after I've said it. In hindsight, it feels like something I would only have said when I was 5 or 6, and maybe even under torture. And yet it came out all the same, in spite of how ridiculous it was, in spite of how vulnerable it makes me feel. And the surprises don't end there. Save your life? I'm afraid we're a little past that, Stephen. There is no saving your life. Not anymore. Wait, what? What is she saying? You're dying. You're dying because of a choice you've made, one that no one else could ever make for you. You're on a very limited timer, and these machines can't delay the inevitable much longer. At some point, you're going to give out. And when you do, it'll be all over. I thought she'd chastise me. I thought she'd leave. I thought she'd call for backup or sedate me or I don't know. I can't tell what she's doing anymore, and for that matter, I can't tell what I'm doing either. Do I feel relieved knowing that my death is inevitable? Do I feel upset? Do I feel worried or angry or regretful? I thought I'd sorted myself out earlier, long ago for that matter. That's why I ended up here in these conditions. And why do I suddenly feel so confused? What is wrong with me all of a sudden? In my panic, rage instantly takes over. You're dodging the question! I try to bait her into revealing her hand, as though that'll lend me some kind of stability. But she won't fold. Oh, there was a question? I thought all you were doing was blowing off some steam. She approaches my side of the bed by a few steps' length, shaking her head in evident disapproval. I swear you're putting words in my mouth. When have I ever said any of that? You didn't need to tell me. Your eyes said everything I needed to hear. The woman quietly snorts at my accusations. Then your limbs aren't the only things that don't work. Your eyes and ears could probably use an inspection or two. Or could have, back when it still mattered. Are you mocking me? I can't tell if that was meant to be a joke, an insult, or both. I feel a headache mounting, and it grows bigger and bigger every moment I spend trying to make sense of this. Mocking? Oh, 1 second, guys. Okay. Mocking you? No, I'm giving it to you straight. That's all you've always wanted, right, wasn't it? Someone who talked to you face to face without shying away from the truth. Someone unlike your peers in school, who were only ever nice to you because someone told them to be. Unlike your employers, who hired you for some government bonus and then promptly forgot you were even there. Unlike your parents, who never dared tell you how much they wished you were born normal like everyone else. I could feel my heart skip a beat at the sound of her voice, contorted into a statement I never thought would come out of her lips. I think I should be offended by what she said, that I should scream at her to keep my parents out of her mouth or something. But I don't feel like doing any of that at the moment. I don't even feel like moving an inch, under the pressure that she's exerting. You don't seem as happy to be talking to someone like that as I thought you'd be. All I can do is listen and try to understand. It's all I can think of right now. She follows a line of questioning as invisible to my eyes. That much is for sure. Some wicked sense that I can't fathom no matter how hard I try. This is all nonsense, and none of it matters. Why am I still talking with her? Why do I feel like I'm following her logic if I can't understand what it even is? In my seemingly endless confusion, I try to stick to what few questions I have that still make some semblance of sense. Where did you find all that? It's not written anywhere. Now it's her turn to smile, as devilish as the first time she did so. I can imagine some things, Stephen. And besides, you really think you're the only one stuck in a situation as hopeless as yours? She pauses theatrically, like an actor on a stage, as she moves back to the other side of the bed, and I follow her along unquestioningly. In my travels, I've met quite a few people like you, Stephen. So many you have no idea. All of them rejected by a world that didn't need them, each for different reasons. All of them shunned by the very people who ought to look out for them. All of them devoid of hope and ready to give up. All of them completely and utterly miserable. She pauses again, on that very same word she brought up earlier, as if to further highlight the grim truth she carries with it. Then she turns to face me, with renewed vigor in her eyes and power in her voice. But it doesn't have to be this way. There's another path, beyond the darkness. Another choice, which no one but me can give you. A choice to make a choice. If you let me, I will convince you to give life another shot. Is that what you're gonna say? I shout, interrupting her before she can even begin to utter another word. You still don't get it, do you? You just don't know what it's like to be looked at every day of your life like you're a child who can't do anything by themselves, or a punching bag who exists only to get the snot kicked out of him with no repercussions. A sick person who could somehow turn you crippled just by being near you long enough. I wish I could tighten my grip right now, grab hold of this mattress beneath me, or maybe her neck, and rip it to shreds. Unleash this pent-up anger within me, which I've kept hidden from others for so long, for at least once in my life. But nothing moves as I try, and as much as I try, not even a little bit. In truth, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm saying or why. She said I'm going to die, and that there's nothing anyone can do to save me. I believe that. That much I'm sure of. But if that's true, then why is she still here, talking to me? Trying to instill hope in me? When there is none? Trying to get me to care when all I want is to stop? That's what every day's like for me. Every single day. Everywhere I go, everyone I meet. Students, teachers, colleagues, doctors. My parents, my caretakers. Even you. I talk and talk and talk. It's all I can do. It's all I could ever do. Speak and speak and speak, yet nobody ever listens. Nobody ever cares. I'm angry. So angry it physically hurts in spite of all the sedatives I'm probably on. I can feel my sadness, rage, and disappointment coursing through me as if they were my own blood. Here to slap me in some group therapy session, tell me to take a couple of pills and spend a few $100 on some drug-addicted therapist? Fuck you! I don't need your advice, I don't need your help, and I certainly don't need you around. I've had enough of you already! I shout until my voice gives out from pain and exhaustion, until the thundering of my words echoes amidst the walls, long after I'm done speaking. Only then do I relent. Only then does my voice revert into a heaved whisper, barely more audible than my thoughts. Only then can I feel teary rivers slowly forming underneath my eyelids, unable to control myself any longer. Just leave already. That's all you doctors are good for, after all. A last condescending remark for good measure, but it feels empty just like my own body. I don't get it. I got what I wanted. I'm free, or will be shortly. I should be relieved. I was relieved until she... What did she do? What did she say? What did she offer? What small comfort did she provide in these minutes she spoke with me to make me feel so uneasy about this, all of a sudden? I don't know. I can't tell. The answer lies just beyond my reach, solely within her grasp. So I wait. I wait for something I can't even recognize. A word, a gesture, a sign. A continuation. Oh boy. And continue she did. The laughter seems to stretch into eternity, echoing far beyond the confines of this room. That laughter that never stopped, even when everything went quiet. That laughter I could hear in my head even when she spoke. That laughter which eventually breaks down into words I can finally understand. Oh, Stephen, you really misunderstand me. Convince you to give life another shot? Really now? What sort of self-serving narcissist would ever suggest something like that? And to you of all people? With a brief fit of hysterics in between her vile comments, though it doesn't last long at all. A cripple unable to look after himself from the moment he was born, who's endured all his life the contempt of his peers and the pity of those who are meant to look out for him. Someone with no friends, no family, and no place in the world he could ever call home. What kind of maniac could ever want you to find solace in any of this? Who could possibly want you to give life another shot when this is all the life you'll ever have? There it is again. That burning sensation that comes whenever she mocks me. That's not what she's doing, is it? I can feel it clearly now, more than ever before. She isn't trying to make me feel worse, nor is she trying to make me feel better. She's just putting it how it is, speaking to me the way I always wanted to be spoken to, whispering to me every little thing I was ever told, deep down in my heart from the moment I was born. They all ring as true as steel. You want me to tell you it'll all get better? You both know that it doesn't. You're never going to improve, no matter how hard you try, even if we could save your dying body. No amount of surgery or physiotherapy could ever fix something that was born utterly broken. And there's no fixing everyone else either. Awareness campaigns, polite reprimands, nothing but ineffective non-solutions concocted by spineless people who think all it takes is a kind word to solve every problem. Try as you might, you can't fix pride, apathy, wickedness. They sure can gaslight you into believing people will get nicer in time, can't they? I'm sure that'll put their own worries to rest while they go about living their own unbothered lives. And all the while you sink further and further into the mud, out of sight and out of mind. It's harsh, like braving a storm in the mountains. It's cold like a snowstorm in the desert. It's bitter like swallowing a deadly poison. And yet it's weirdly cathartic all the same, hearing this woman speak, listening as she tells me the things I've sought for the better part of my life. And even though she obviously has no idea what's going on in my mind, and has never walked a day in my shoes, it's almost as if she does, and did. Like she understands me on a more fundamental level than I could have ever imagined. I can't help but chuckle at the thought, as all the tension and uneasiness that had taken hold of me seems to dissipate in the blink of an eye. You're really not a psychologist, huh? The feline's lips curl up in a sarcastic smile. If I were, I'd probably not be able to hold a job for long. I think I broke just about every rule of ethics in the last 30 seconds alone. I'll say. We laughed together, like close friends who've known each other for a lifetime, like siblings who never knew each other existed. It's definitely an eerie in a way, a strange, unusual sensation. Is it gladness or fear? In my confusion, the woman steps forward, a suddenly calm expression on her face. No, I'm afraid I'm nothing more than a scientist. Here to offer you something a little different than your usual bitter pills and feel-good therapy. Something no one's ever offered you before. And what would that be? She smiles again, triumphantly as she approaches me. A solution. Without missing a beat, the scientist lays her tablet on top of my chest, keeping it at an angle to make viewing as easy and comfortable for me as possible. Immediately, images begin to appear on the small device. Some of them are a little vague, but I can recognize some recurring themes as they come and go. Laboratories, scientists, assorted documents, and some strange robot-looking creatures, unlike any I've ever seen, first contained in strange devices, then out and about. Walking, working, hanging out with other people. Just like the real thing. You see, I'm working on a little passion project of mine. Something you may already know a little bit about if you follow the news. Ever heard of synthetics before, Stephen? At the mention of that word, a giggle can't help but escape from my lips. Synthetics, huh? So that's what this is all about. I get it now. You're that crazy lady who wants to stuff people into robots, aren't you? The woman jokingly scoffs at my description and quickly moves to rebuke it. Well, that's one way to put it. I suppose I do have somewhat of a reputation, after all. Though, if you'll forgive the correction, I don't stuff people into anything. That description feels way too visceral, almost. She makes as if to shoo the thought away with her hands, in a demonstration that is as goofy as it is charming. After that, she quickly regains her composure and continues from where I interrupted. No, I've got way bigger plans than that. What I'm looking for is a way to safeguard the only thing in our bodies that's even worth a dime, the soul. And I'd like to think I've already succeeded. The soul, huh? Sounds like something a mad scientist would talk about, alright? Yet, it's hard to argue with the photos and videos she's presenting. Even the documents interspersed within her little presentation have an air of authenticity that makes disbelief quite hard to give into. The sight of these synthetics having a jolly old time even after dying is just so heartwarming, to say the least. Picture this, Stephen. A world where you're free to do whatever you wish. A world where you can reach out your hand and grasp whatever you want. Where you can step one foot in front of the other and walk every which way you choose. A world where you can have the body and look you've always dreamed of. A world where you needn't rely on anyone else to fulfill your desires. The scientist suddenly extends her hand forward, as if inviting me just to reach out on my own and hold it. As though it truly were just as simple as that. That world is the kind of world I've dreamed of my whole life. It can be your world too, if you wish to join me. If you're willing to risk everything in order to gain everything, the offer is on the table. I can feel my heart thump loudly in my chest, as though I just bore witness to a miracle, like I was just asked to be a part of a grand historic event. You want me to become one of those things? A simple and rather crass question. For some reason, the marvel I feel in my heart isn't making it all the way to my vocal cords. If you wish to survive, I'm afraid so. Transplanting your soul into an android vessel, as kooky as it sounds, is the only way you could ever hope to avoid perishing within your current body. Besides, you wouldn't become anything. It'd still be you, underneath all that shiny metal. Assuming my theories are correct, of course. The alternative would be disappointing for sure. She hesitates to elaborate further. At first, I think it's because she's afraid of scaring me away somehow, but then I realize it's because she's noticed that I'm not looking her way any longer. But you don't seem to mind all that much, do you? Got something else on your mind? I gulp, and for a second I worry even the people on the other end of the establishment might have heard that. My eyes retreat even further away from the felines, as I figuratively beat this growing hope within my heart into submission. Yeah. Sorry, but I don't care. I'll pass. It takes everything I have to say those words, one after another. It feels like I'm pushing my wheelchair into that river all over again, but I have to do it, even if it hurts to crush my dreams after living so long without any. I'm just too tired. Far too tired. Well, that's unfortunate. I was kind of hoping you'd say yes, honestly. You do understand that you're signing your death warrant right now, don't you? I know you've looked forward to your death for a while now, but that was before everything I told you today, after finding out you have a choice. If you become a synthetic, you could finally have the body and freedom you always wanted. You could have a normal life, free of your debilitating condition, free to... I know. She stops for a moment, hesitating. From the looks of it, she truly wasn't expecting this outcome from me. Is something the matter? Any reasons why you don't want to give this a shot? The disappointment in her voice is palpable, as though she too feels guilty over me denying myself this chance. I've half a mind to end our discussion here, like I planned it to so long ago. Give in to my exhaustion and finally retire for the night, praying that there'll be no tomorrow. But after everything that's happened, after everything she's offered me, I'd be remiss not to try and explain myself, if only to reward her kindness. I don't see a point any longer. I've lived so little, yet it feels like it's been an eternity already. An eternity I just want to end. Walking around, grasping things, exploring the world on my own, living, I just don't see the appeal in any of those things anymore. I speak freely and openly, and yet I cannot tell if I'm speaking the truth or not, if I'm trying to deceive her or myself. Every thought in my head feels so hazy and confused all at once, and pointless most of all. In this never-ending miasma, I just can't find anything of value to say or do. No dream or hope that truly matters. Nothing itself. There used to be a time when I'd fantasize about this kind of opportunity, when I'd have signed any contract I was offered, if it meant just being a little more free with my own body. Alright, ladies and gents, I'm gonna pause it right here. I don't know how much more of this is left, so we'll save it for another episode. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks or a tip if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!